Are the Nuggets for real, Brian?
Well, you know, they're really banged up right now, Rich. They're missing like three of their best players, but they're still winning. You know, they're still hanging in there. And what's so amazing about the Nuggets is they were one of the worst defensive teams last year, like hideous, terrible, awful, bottom three. There would be some nights where, like, it would make you sick if you were a Nuggets fan to watch. Now, in 1 year, and they've made a couple of adjustments to their team, but not dramatically. They've essentially got the same core team. They're in the top five. Like, that is unheard of. It's so unheard of that I question whether it can last. So if you're asking me if they're for real, they have already so blown away my expectations. Like, even they came into the season, and I thought they were being pretty fair. They were like, we just want to be an average defensive team. If we can be an average defensive team, we can win 50 games and make the playoffs. And by the way, I agreed. But now they're an elite defensive team. So if they hold that up and their players get healthy, they're a real problem because they are as good offensively as the Warriors. Maybe not their top end, maybe not on a night when Steph and Durant are both going, they both score 40. Okay, maybe no one in history can match that, but on an average night, they are as good offensively as the Warriors. So they're interesting. What I'd say is remarkable is that as we sit here today, Rich, there are 5 teams that made the playoffs in the West last year that are currently out of the playoffs. And a couple of teams that we thought might have a chance to be the real contenders for the Warriors, the Jazz and the Rockets, although Rockets are rallying. You know, they're there. I mean, we've just never seen that kind of turnover. Not only that, we've got the Celtics and the 76ers in the East. Neither of them are in the top 3 right now.
Yeah, I mean,
so what we expected for this season is not playing out. But, you know, typically in the NBA, over the long haul, the best teams rise to the top. And I still think that's probably going to happen, but I don't feel sure about it.
All right, so your best guess on the team that the Warriors and Steve Kerr, heart of hearts, quiet moment, pull them aside, say we're concerned about this team.
Well,
and by the way, Brian, hold on. By the way, Brian, you can include the answer being the Warriors themselves.
Well, the Warriors have this big, giant X factor out there that I have no idea, and literally a giant guy in DeMarcus Cousins. I really just don't know how that's going to go. I mean, there's a scenario out there where DeMarcus Cousins could make them virtually unbeatable. There's other scenarios where he's not going to be himself coming off of the worst injury you can suffer in the NBA, and that maybe he'll play 2 impactful quarters in the entire postseason. I mean, I think there's a wide spectrum to so without knowing what he's going to do. And Rich, they took a gamble with him because they are a very thin team. You know, some of their veteran bench players either retired or moved elsewhere, and they invested almost all their free agency money in bringing in a guy who was not going to play for most of the season, and instead of going out and adding to their depth. So they've been relying on guys who were D-League players. They've called up guys from the D-League and played them like 15 minutes. That is not what you typically have from a championship team. So they need him to play well, and so they are a little bit softer at the back end of their lineup than they've been in the last 5 years. That said, the front end of their lineup is like loaded. So I'm not really losing sleep over that. But the Raptors are an interesting team. They've already beat the Warriors twice, which I know doesn't matter in the grand scheme. But the Raptors have 2 guys now who have championship-level experience in Kawhi and Danny Green. And Danny Green played a big role against the Warriors. And they've got this young guy, Pascal Siakam, who doesn't carry the baggage of all those failures in the playoffs. I just think the Raptors are a different level team than they've been in the past. Do I think they can beat the Warriors 4 out of 7? No. But I think that's a team that bears watching for sure.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.